Will a person be able to succeed without a coach? Absolutely. Will a person be able to succeed as quickly without a coach? I'm going to say not, because that additional person in your corner is going to speed up the process drastically.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Skorch the Fears. We are here with Marlon Johnson, Mindset Marlon, the beast, the man, the legend. I think he's been on here quite a few times at this point. I'm out of WeWork because I'm in travel mode right now, but hopefully nobody comes in and tells me to shut the hell up. We'll see. I don't know. If you're on Instagram, come over to my YouTube channel, Jonah Korchin. You're going to be able to hear Marlon. You're going to be able to hear what he's saying. We're going to try to do a podcast. It's going to be lit. I'm pretty excited. Going to be great. And yeah, Marlon, welcome to the podcast yet again. How many times have you been on Skorch the Fears?
Bro, I think this is my third time. The very first time I was on Skorch the Fears, I actually got to host the episode and I interviewed Medium Weight
yeah.
Dave. That was a fun time.
Sick. I remember that. I got to switch to this. My editor wants me on this mode. So do you mind also if when you're talking, you're like this, when I'm talking, I'm like this? Is that, do you care?
Dude, not a problem, man. I'm not allowed to stare at myself. I'm cool with that.
All right, cool. So my man, I mean, so much has happened now. Daniel Keanu, you're on Instagram. Come onto YouTube and ask me if I'm in a Japanese toilet, and I'll answer that question. But yeah, so how I now start these episodes, and this is going to be good. This is the first time you've been on where I'm interviewing you. I think you've been on twice, but you were interviewing someone or someone else was interviewing you because I was traveling or doing whatever. So this time I get to interview you, which is fun because you're a really good friend of mine. So this is a great time, right? What's when you were just starting out in real estate, in entrepreneurship? Actually, I'm sorry. First, just quickly tell everyone what you're doing. What's your business? What have you done in entrepreneurship? Start there. Just give a quick intro for the 0 people watching that don't know you.
Cool. For the people that aren't watching who don't know me, what's up? My name is Marlon Johnson, aka Mindset Marlon. And as far as, this is about real estate. So I'm going to talk about my real estate history. I got into real estate in October of 2019. Don't ask me why I remember the date, but it was an important date for me that changed my life. When I got started, I was in a position where I was living at home with my mom and my sister, barely making about $20,000 a year, working 3 jobs and going to college full-time, gearing up for a graduate's degree in physical therapy. Realizing that my life sucked and I didn't want to continue to progress into that level of suck and I wanted to change, I searched for something different, landed on real estate. Being that I had no money, time, or no money and experience, but I had plenty of time, I started off wholesaling. So basically, as your audience knows, I would go out, find deals, put them under contract, and look to sell them to other investors who were fix and flip or buy and hold investors. So I did that for, I would say, maybe about a year and a half to 2 years before I finally had the brain click of learning how to raise private capital. And at that point, I started actually buying the investment properties myself. And I started fix and flipping them. And I also started holding them in my long-term portfolio. So as of now, today is October 26, 2023. I currently own 21 doors, 20 of which are up in the Midwest, up in Milwaukee.
Let's
I've
go.
done approximately 12 flips, I believe, is where we're at right now. And I've wholesaled a little over 20 deals. I don't know how many deals, but it's probably 20-something deals. And that allowed me to break out of making $20,000 a year to learning how to make over $40,000 in a single month. I've actually had 6-figure months where I've made over $100,000 in a single month and be able to create cash flow for myself. So now, as of today, what I get to do, which is my very active personal passion, is I work with entrepreneurs working on their mindset and helping them to overcome the limiting beliefs that hold them in that position where they have all the resources but are not producing any of the results. So that's my 30-second elevator pitch.
I love it. That's why you're on this podcast, is because that's what the point of this podcast is. It's not just real estate. The point of this podcast is to help out newer entrepreneurs get into entrepreneurship, get over their fears, no matter what business it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be real estate. Obviously, you and me know each other from real estate, but it can be from anything. So don't worry, we'll get into all of it. And I really wanted you on because now you become a business coach. You're a great friend of mine. So let me go to my original question that I was alluding to earlier, which is, Mr. Marlon Johnson, when you were just starting in real estate or in entrepreneurship, what were your greatest fears and how did you overcome them?
Wow, that's such a good question. So when I was getting started, I think I had the most common fear that most everybody has. So two things immediately come to mind that I've sat down and reflected on. The first of which was, quite honestly, I was afraid of what people thought about me. So when I say that, what do I mean? When we're getting started in this business, you're told to let everybody know what you're up to. Let everybody know you're a real estate investor. Let people know that you buy houses. Let them know that you solve problems. And I was afraid to tell the world what I was up to because my previous circle, my previous friends, all the people in my life up until that point were not into this entrepreneurial journey, at least not that I knew of. And so going out and saying I'm doing this new stuff would essentially ostracize me and it would kick me out of the friend group. And I was so afraid of that because I think most everybody is, we want to belong. I know me, I belonging to people. I being able to be a part of community and be a part of group. So it's a scary thought to be pushed out and left alone again. So in the very beginning, I was having a bit of an identity crisis, if you will, of just sharing with people what I was up to because I didn't want them thinking I was stupid, I was lame, or I was a complete idiot. Also, keep in mind when I first got into real estate, I invested over 20,000, about $25,000 into my first mentorship course. Now I can, it's whatever to me. I'm used to spending that kind of money. But back then, that was the biggest, largest investment I had ever made. And I felt kind of stupid because the community I come from, they don't buy into seminars. They don't buy into mentorship. To them, it's a scam. So for me to go back and tell my friends I just spent $25,000 with these strangers I met in a Marriott ballroom for the last 3 days, they're going to look at me like I'm an idiot. So that was a big worry that I had. And then the second worry that I had was not with my social group, but within myself, being afraid that I wasn't going to be good enough to make it work. What do I mean by that? Listen, you didn't have to convince me that real estate worked. I knew it worked. I'm intelligent enough, I believe, that I can see if you do A turns to B, B turns to C turns to D. So it was a very logical process. Entrepreneurship is very logical. So I know betting on yourself, or I know entrepreneurship and real estate work. What I was afraid of was, would I be the person that can make it work? And I think a lot of people struggle with this. It's, it works, but the hard part is convincing yourself that you're going to be a person that makes it work, that you are not a part of the mediocre many, but you're a part of that 1% who actually commits and who actually makes it happen. So very often in those first couple of months, because it took me 8 months to get my first deal, and it wasn't 8 months of slacking around doing a little bit here, a little bit there. It was 8 months of me 5 to 6 days a week on the phones for 6 to 8 hours per day, and on occasion working that seventh day on the weekend just because I wanted to make it happen so badly. Those first couple of months, however, the version of Marlon Johnson that was showing up on the phone was the Marlon Johnson who carried a lot of self-doubt. The Marlon Johnson who kept questioning, is this working? The Marlon Johnson who kept questioning, am I good enough to make this happen? Quite frankly, it was the Marlon Johnson who would be making calls while at the same time opening up his laptop, going to Indeed and searching for jobs. Because I had 1 foot in and 1 foot out just in case it didn't work. And that is a recipe for disasters, my friends. If you are doing anything in your life, you have to be all in. And it wasn't until I had a mental shift, until I had a paradigm shift, that I understood the power of being all in and that I started to get traction in my business. But early on, those were the two biggest worries. What did my friends think about me? And the biggest fear of, am I good enough to make this work?
Wow. I love it. I love it so much. I mean, I've been having the gift of watching you on your journey. So it's been really fun to see you go through real estate, go through like you finding like, hey, real estate is cool, but I'd rather be coaching and doing all of that stuff. What do you feel like makes the difference, especially as a coach, because you deal with it? Like, what makes the difference between those 99% that don't achieve and the 1% that do? I'm just really curious your opinion on that. I have my opinions on it, but I'm curious what yours is. What makes the
Yeah, great
difference?
question. Yeah, Jonah, great question. I think you probably will agree with my opinion. So when we look at the 99% that don't achieve, right, I call them the mediocre many. There's a lot of reasons that hold them back, but true to your show, right, Skorch the Fears, I think the biggest reason that people don't achieve is they are afraid. They're afraid of a multitude of things, but I
So
find that
true.
the most common fear is it's a fear of criticism. It's I'm worried. I'm more worried about what you think about me if I screw up, if I don't make it perfect the first time around, than I am afraid of anything else. And I see people do this all the time. Why won't they make the first phone call? Because they don't want to look stupid. They don't want to be wrong. They don't want to sound like they don't know what's going on. Well, newsflash, you're brand new at this. You've never done it before. You don't know what's going on. You have no clue. You suck at this. But that's okay, because the way this whole thing works is in the very beginning, you're going to be the most confident when you sign up, when you say, I'm going to do this, because you don't know what you don't know. So you have what we call stupidity working in your favor. You're just so ignorant to all the hardships that there are that you're saying, yes, I want to do this. And then when you get into it, you start to realize, oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. So immediately your confidence starts to go down, because essentially you realize you suck at this new thing you're doing. And if you're willing to commit and go through the suck, which most people aren't, because again, they're worried about what other people think. They're worried about their social status. They're worried about how they appear on the outside to the rest of the world, that they don't allow themselves to go through the natural sucking phase to eventually get good, to eventually be mediocre, to be decent, to be good, to be great. And so when I see the people who do succeed, the individuals that actually make it to a level of noteworthy success, the first thing that they all have in common, without a shadow of a doubt, and I can bet my entire life on this, is first, they are absolutely crystal clear on what it is they want to accomplish. There is no wavering in this. They are 100% certain and clear on what their goal is, on what they want to accomplish, on what the target is. If somebody feels like it's been years, it's been months, it's been weeks, I've been trying and I'm trying and nothing's working, the first thing I'm going to ask them is very similar to what you ask people when you meet them at networking events is, what are you working on? What are you trying to accomplish? Because if you don't have an answer to that, and it's not a clear, concise answer, if it's a fuzzy, vague answer, you're going to get fuzzy and vague results. You're going to put in fuzzy and vague action, and you're not going to get what you're looking for. When the answer is specific and clear, that you can tell it to somebody and they can paint the picture in their mind of the same thing you see in your mind, that improves the likeliness of achieving drastically. So much so that if you don't have clarity, we have to stop and we need to go back there. And then after that's established, what I find is the people who succeed, right? My clients that succeed, who produce results, here's what they do. They establish the goal, and then rather than using the goal as the only measuring stick for success and for progress, they start to break the goal down into process, into steps, into milestones that need to be accomplished, into daily routines that need to be done. And then they begin to put those daily routines into their calendar, into their schedule. They actually put it into their day that, hey, based on my goal of, let's say, for example, I have one gentleman who's I'm working with right now, and his goal is to create over $100,000 in wholesale assignment. Awesome, easy goal. Because what he's able to do is he's able to backtrack his KPIs and recognize, in order for me to do these deals, I need to be putting properties under contract. In order for me to put properties under contract, I need to be making phone calls to homeowners who are interested in selling me properties. I need to have 20 phone calls per day in order to make the amount of contracts I need per week in order to hit this goal in the time frame I'm looking. So his calendar looks like him blocking out time daily to make the phone calls, and he's measuring his success. He's measuring his progress based on each day, him showing up and taking the incremental steps towards getting to where he wants to go. Where I see people who don't make it to where they want to go, it's because the only thing they're measuring is their vague goal, right? I want to be rich. I want to be financially independent, right? That's a very vague goal, because I don't know what financially independent means. Is that making $20,000 a month? Is that making $200,000 a month? You need to define it better. It just needs to be defined better. But that's their goal. And it's the only measuring stick that they have, which is I'm either making $20,000 a month and I'm successful, or I'm not and I'm a failure. So you're telling me if you're making $19,999, you're a failure? According to your measuring stick, yes. Whereas my client over here, his measuring stick is, did I make my 20 calls per day today? Did I wake up and work on my morning routine? Did I do the things that will allow me to be the person who deserves the victory? Am I doing those incremental steps that are changing me internally and also producing external results? He's measuring his success based on process. So when I look at individuals that aren't achieving, I typically find that this piece is missing in their world. They're lacking the clarity, and then they haven't broken down anything because of the lack of clarity into process that can be put onto their schedule, that can be put onto their calendar to create daily routine. Because people like to say, show me what you do and I'll tell you who you are. I say, show me what you do daily and I'll tell you who you are.
I love it. I love it so much, my man. So why should someone use a business coach? I know this. I have a business coach, and I can answer this myself as well. But I want to know, like, who's the ideal candidate for a business coach? Why would someone get a business coach? And yeah, just because I don't think many people of my audience know why you would even need that necessarily. You slightly explained it, but I want you to go more into that.
Yeah, so and I was looking around. Normally, I'd pull out like prop. There's like a little prop I like to use to explain this, but I can't find it right now. So I'm just going to do my best to paint the picture with my words. And so the reason we need a business coach, the reason everybody needs a coach, in my opinion, is because we all naturally have blind spots. And I'd like to invite the audience to think about this for a moment. Have you ever seen somebody in your life? Maybe it was a friend, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's just somebody in passing, and you are watching them from afar, and you're seeing them make what seems like a very obvious mistake. You're watching them, and they're trying to navigate a maze. Let's say this: you're watching a person try to navigate a maze, and you just happen to be sitting up in the bleachers, so you have a bit of a bird's eye view, and that person is in the maze and they can only see the walls in front of them and to the side of them. So they are wandering and they're getting lost. But from the outside, you're able to see so clearly, hey, make that left. Okay, now make the right. Okay, now just keep walking forward. But they make a left and they make another left. And you're just like, why are they doing that? Well, the truth is they don't have the same perspective. They don't have the same vantage point, because when you're in your own life, when you're in your own situation, your own circumstances, your own issues, you don't have the vantage point of being external to it. Therefore, you're not going to be able to see all of the viable solutions, not as well as somebody who is completely separate of your situation. So when you bring on a coach into your world, when you bring a coach into your life, what they provide you is new perspective. They provide you with being able to condense what would take you decades and press it down into days so that ultimately you can achieve goals faster. So will a person be able to succeed without a coach? Absolutely. Will a person be able to succeed as quickly without a coach? I'm going to say not, because that additional person in your corner is going to speed up the process drastically. It is probably one of the fastest, I call it like cheat code to life. When I understood the power of getting a mentor, when I understood the power of bringing somebody into my world who has already walked the path that I want to walk, and not even just walked it once, but who has walked it several times and has also guided other people along that path and have successfully taken them to the top of the mountain I want to go to, I am more than okay with trading my time or trading my money in exchange to get that time, to buy that time, to condense how long it will take me to do this journey. I like to tell people this. We look at money sometimes because I think the biggest objection I see with why people don't get coaches is usually it's a financial thing. It's almost always financial. It's always, hey, this is going to cost too much. I think it's going to cost you more. It's costing too much not to have guidance. The length of time it will take you to get there on your own. In fact, let me share a quick story. Just this past week, you and I were hanging out in Georgia. You actually got to meet my dad, so that was super cool. And I love my dad.
Fun.
Great guy. Yeah, it was an awesome time. It was so much fun. And I appreciate you having me out there for that event. I appreciate sharing the stage with you. You got to meet my dad. And my dad, he also buys real estate. He's been buying real estate now for the past 20 plus almost 30 years. However, he's done it the older method of, buy one property maybe every 5 to 7 years, save up for a down payment, qualify again, get the second property, save up for the down payment, qualify. And he's gone this way to build a portfolio of maybe a couple of doors, maybe about 5 doors at the max ever, or 6 or 7. And that took him 30 years because he was doing it on his own, right? He was reading books, he was reading newspapers, stuff like that, but everything he was doing all on his own. Whereas I went and I invested $25,000 and I got a mentor. And within 3 years, I've more than tripled the size of his portfolio. I've earned more than he's earned. And I don't say this to brag or to knock him down by any means. I was just able to go a lot faster in a shorter period of time and go further simply because I had someone else holding my hand and guiding me through where I had never been before. So when people are questioning, should I get a coach? If you're already thinking about, should I get a coach? The answer is yes. If you're feeling stuck and you feel like you've been trying and nothing's working, get a coach. If you're in a place where you value time more than money, get a coach, right? But if you want to just go the slow way yourself and reinvent the wheel all on your own, then ignore everything I'm saying and spend the next 30 years doing something that somebody could teach you to do in probably 3 months.
Right. I love it. I love it so much. And I'm going to do a little tirade on coaching myself because I have a coach. And guys, it is something to just have someone who keeps you accountable every single week, somebody who freaking pushes you because you're like, hey, you told me this is your goal. What are we doing about that? Are we going to make that happen? How are we going to make that happen? Right. Having a business coach is like having a therapist, but they actually solve the problem. That's what I really love about it. Right. So, guys, a business coach is so key. I basically quadrupled my business once I started having a business coach because it's like, okay, no, I said I was going to do this. It's organized. We have been tracking it. We're now tracking everything. So now how are we going to achieve our goals? Because now we're at tracking our goals. And it's also a lot of inner work too of how you said you want to be this type of man, right? Like, I don't know, Marlon, is it also life coaching a little bit too? It's got to be. I mean, business is life, so it
100%.
generally becomes both of them. But
I,
yeah,
yep. Well, that's the thing,
um,
right? I can't work on a person's business without working on them first
right.
because the individual has to level up. And so there's a lot of working on the individual. And what you find is, I tell people this, right? They think their business is like a goose that lays the golden egg. And to a degree, they're correct. However, the first goose laying the first golden eggs is you as an individual.
You.
So
Yep.
you're the first thing I invest into. It's working on you as the individual, turning you into the man or woman that produces at the level that you say you desire. When we work on that person first and we get that guy dialed in or that girl dialed in, everything else follows and builds upon the foundation of you as an individual. So I like to tell people and remind them, you are your number one investment.
No, I 100% agree. And I mean, like, it's just been so valuable in the sense of how becoming a better human being to be able to lead humans better as well. Because I think you're right. I think if someone's it's way easier to help somebody out on the outside than help yourself. Having that accountability is so helpful. So I want to talk to you real quick about what is the process of helping someone out? How do you actually help someone become a different human being? Because I feel like that can be really hard in the sense of like most people don't want to change. Most people don't want to give up the life they have right now for the life that they're going to have. So do you have to convince someone? Is it like if you came to me, you did it? Or like, what's that process look like?
Yeah, great question, Jonah. So I love this question because I'm going to take a little while to answer it because it's just such a good question. When a person comes to me, this is really what I take pride in doing. I set an application to work with me. You cannot just swipe a credit card and work with me. It's not how it works. It is very much an application. And During that application process, they answer a multitude of questions. And then if they get through that application process, then maybe we set up a discovery call. And on that discovery call, it is truly a place for me to take time to see if you and I are going to be a good fit. Because I am absolutely convinced and aware that the process works. Because the process has worked on me and the process has worked on other clients that I've worked with. But what I need to make sure of is that this person coming to me is the right avatar. See, there's a specific type of person I work with. Jonah, I've had people come to me just because my name has gone through some circles now and people are now referring me. Some individuals will come to me and they're brand new to
Because you're
real estate. They're
super
brand new to,
duper famous. That's why.
yeah, I wish, bro. I would not there yet. I'm not as cool as Jonah
You got
Korchin.
213 people to come on to this podcast. I want you to know that. I'm looking at this right now. We have way more people than I've ever had ever watch this podcast. So one of the questions I'm eventually going to ask you is, how the hell do you do that, right? How do you get so many people to come on to your stuff? Because I'm very interested in that. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I was at 5 seconds ago. Now I'm at 3. So I really look like an asshole. And you have 213 people on here. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But real quick, sorry. Keep going though.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, dude. I got no idea, man. I think they found out like I was hanging out with Jonah today and they're like, yo, let's go. So
Maybe.
I go through an application process with people. So for example, I had one gentleman that came to me brand spanking new to entrepreneurship, hadn't even been in business for about maybe 3 weeks or so. And he wanted to sign up. He had just invested into another course. He had spent a couple of $1,000s there already. And then he wanted to sign up for my coaching. And my coaching is expensive, or to some people, it can be expensive. To people who understand, it's actually relatively cheap. I've been told I don't charge enough, but that's neither here nor there. When he and I got to talking, and I asked him, how long have you been doing business? He says, about 3 weeks. I said, okay, well, have you run any other businesses prior to this? He says, no. I said, what are your goals? He's all over the place. And I said, listen, I like personality. I think you're awesome. I don't think you're ready to sign up for my coaching yet. And here's why. You yet have not proven and gone through one of the most important tests, which is the test of time. See, a lot of people get excited about any new endeavor and they jump on board and they're ready to stay up late and do all this work. But that withers away after the first couple of weeks, after maybe the first month or two. And I want a person to test themselves against time because consistency is the most critical part to growth, right? It's the compound effect. And there's nothing I can do to know if you're going to commit to that except for you showing me over time. So what I told him, I said, look, if you're serious about this, this is what I need you to do. I need you to stick with your coaching program. I need you to go inside the real estate mentorship you just signed up for. Go inside there, work it for the next 90 days, stay committed. And then if you're still wanting to work with me, you will have qualified just by nature of being in it long enough to prove and feel that this is going to get tough. There's work to be done. And then I know that you're serious about this. So that's a big thing. I make sure I qualify people. One of them is time. Another is where they're at in their business. Another is where they're at in their life, where they're at in their mindset. And then energetically. See, I make sure that coaching is a very special bond. You have to resonate with your coach. You have to respect your coach. And I've had individuals, again, Jonah, come to me who through word of mouth, they heard, hey, Marlon's good at what he does, X, Y, and Z. And on that discovery call, I can feel it. Our personalities clash, right? Our personalities clash to the point where this person is questioning everything I'm telling them. And they are, yeah, I know that already. Yeah, I'm going to do it my way. And I actually said, hey, listen, I don't think we're going to be a good fit for each other. Because the problem is, one, you feel you already know everything.
They're uncoachable.
Two, they're not coachable. And it's not that they're not coachable. It's they're not coachable by me. See, right. And I actually recommended them to another coach I know who has a totally different personality and a totally different delivery. And so it's important that people resonate with their coaches. It's not because Jonah's coach worked really well for him that his coach is also going to work really well for you. It's not that I've had coaches that other people have said, this person is up here, and I signed up for them, and I was like, I got nothing from that person. And they were a nice person. I logically got it, but it didn't click on that emotional, vibrational, spiritual level. And that's where it needs to click. So earlier you asked me, what am I doing in order to help produce results inside of people? And I think the most important thing a coach can do is take their own advice. That's the most important thing I think a coach can do, is to be the person that takes their own advice. Because the ability to influence, a lot of people hear the word influencer and they think, oh, YouTuber, social media influencer. And I say, no, right? Social media, YouTube, podcasts, these are vehicles for spreading influence, but they don't actually create influence. So how is influence created? And in my opinion, influence is created when an individual embodies the advice that they are giving, because then they can actually pass that vibration, they can pass that frequency over to the other human, to the other individual with confidence and conviction, because they themselves are currently living the truth. They're living that truth that they're seeking to pass on. For example, now I'll use this as a basic example of influence. Imagine one morning you're out for a run. And as you're going underneath a bridge, you see a homeless man there and he stops you and you're just, hey, I got time this morning. I'm going to give him some time. And you let him speak to you. You speak with him and he starts to give you advice on the stock market. And he starts telling you, Jonah, you need to buy ABC stock. The company's about to have a split. This company's going to go through the roof. Get in right now. And you listen to him and then he lets you go and you keep on running about your day. I highly doubt you're about to pull out your phone right then and there and invest your money into ABC stock. You're like, yeah, maybe I'll look at it later, whatever. You don't think about it. So fast forward, you pull into Starbucks and you're just grabbing a cup of coffee. And while you're online, Warren Buffett just happens to walk in and he says, hey, excuse me, young man, I'm in a hurry. Would it be okay if I cut you online? You say, absolutely, right? Mr. Buffett, go ahead. And so you let Warren Buffett cut you on the line. So Warren Buffett turns around and he says, hey, you know what? I appreciate your kindness. Let me give you a little advice. Right now we're studying. I see that ABC stock is about to have this split and the stock's about to go through the roof. I bet you in that moment, you're about to whip out your phone and you're dropping everything into ABC stock. Oh, yeah. Same advice, but totally different action is being resonated and brought out inside the individual. What's the difference? It's not the advice that was given. It's who was delivering the advice. See, when it's being delivered by the homeless man, it's hard for it to resonate with you because you're looking at him and, hey, if this advice were working so well, I don't think you'd be living under a bridge. But when you see Warren Buffett, a man who lives this, breathes this, eats this every single day, he lives by his own advice. His words, they carry a weight behind it. So the words are not empty. There's this weightiness to his words. And so that weightiness lands on you. There's substance behind the words. And on an internal level, on a subconscious level, on a human-to-human, consciousness-to-consciousness level, you pick up on that. Even if you don't have the words to articulate what it is you're feeling, something about when he says it lands differently. And this is important when people are looking for a coach, right? It's understand you want to go to the person that when they speak, for whatever reason, it's advice you've heard before, but now it lands. When they ask you a question, it triggers you to think of answers that you've never thought of. They're able to point out blind spots that you haven't seen. And when they tell you about your blind spots, it doesn't cause you to put your walls up. You allow the walls down and you allow them to penetrate and see the real you for the sake of you trust that they are there with the intention of making you better. So having that relationship with a good coach is so absolutely critical that I think a lot of people just kind of throw their money, they throw their time, and they throw their attention at whomever without really taking the time to date their coach, because that, in my opinion, is an intimate relationship. I take my clients, I take their goals, I take their lives so serious and so personal that I couldn't imagine being a coach who doesn't do this. And I know they're out there because I've encountered some of them, and I get everybody's on their journey. Everyone's trying to figure it out. Some people, however, just see the opportunity to make a money grab. And some people are absolutely passionate about this. And I would say find the person who is passionate and effective, because that's going to be a combination for success for you if you resonate with them.
I love it so much, bro. I copy a lot from you. I don't know if you know that, but I copy a lot of different things. When I hear you speak, I'm gonna copy that. What you just said it. When I follow the flow of the mediocre many or something like that, I might have just fucked that up,
Mhm.
what you just said, but that was incredible. I'm gonna say that way more. My man, we are coming to the end. I gotta end it and I gotta catch a flight, but you are amazing. How can people reach out to you for coaching? It sounds like it's the main thing you're doing, I'm pretty sure. So if somebody wants you as their coach, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah. So if first off, Jonah, thank you so much for having me here, man. Like, it's seriously epic. I love that you make time for this. I love that you make time for me. You've been consistent as hell. Episode 96. Shout out to you, bro. I remember when you
Wow.
said you were gonna be doing these podcast episodes, and you have not missed a beat, which is insane. Like, people start things and only the real ones finish. Only the real ones follow through. So shout out to you
It
for
is
being a real one.
impressive. I appreciate you. It's crazy how many people can't just do 1 hour a week of the same thing forever. It's wild. I'm wow, this
No.
is why I win. This is why I win, is I'm willing to do this for the next 300 days, 500 weeks, 600 weeks, 1,000 weeks. We're just going to keep doing it and see what
Dude,
happens.
I love it.
But
I absolutely love it. So, yeah, man, appreciate you for that. If anyone wants to get connected, if anyone wants to do any coaching with me, it's real simple. Just go to coach.mindsetmarlin.com. There you will be able to fill out the application. So it's the word coach.mindsetmarlin, my Instagram name.com. You'll fill out an application. And from there, you will be able to, we'll book a discovery call if your application goes through, and we'll have a conversation about that. As of right now, I'm not bringing on any new people. Like, coaching is filled out for the next couple of weeks. But as I open it up, if your application is in there, it will be first come, first serve. I will go through and talk to the individuals based on who qualifies. Things will change a little bit, but it's going to be based on qualification. And if anyone wants to connect and maybe you're like, hey, coaching isn't yet, I'm not ready for coaching, but I want to be a part of a community of minded people, follow me on Instagram, because on my Instagram, in my link tree, there's a way to connect and get into my free Facebook group where I get minded entrepreneurs to come together to talk about this kind of stuff, to talk about mindset. And we have just a lot of cool stuff going on. So connect with me there and stay plugged in with Jonah. These are the sort of people I personally connect with. Like, Jonah is one of those guys that I get excited about seeing. In fact, I think you're coming out to town next week, right?
in 2 weeks, bro, in 2 weeks, two or
Dude,
3 weeks, I'll be in the middle of November.
awesome. I'm looking forward to having you back in town, bro.
It's gonna be fun, dude. And by the way, we got to talk, because if you're not accepting new clients, we need to get you hiring some coaches, bro. We need to turn this into a operation. Do you have any coaches below you yet?
Dude, not yet. That's actually what I'm excited
All right,
about. Like,
that's your
I
next
will
step.
be bringing on coaches in the future. So I'm laying people that get in right now. I'm just letting everyone know right now. I'm not going to say this is going to be the best time to ever get in, but like, people that get in early, y'all are going to be a part of something really freaking epic, because the vision I have for this is just absolutely unmatched. I have aspirations, and what will happen is I'm growing this thing to be as large as people are familiar with, like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. My name, I will be, as those men start to filter out of the space, I will be the person coming in and basically replacing them, same as Bob Proctor. And I look up to these men. I absolutely love these men. I will be their replacement, and I will be making a
100%.
spot of my own up there.
I'm so ready for it, my man. So, guys, since basically this is more or less Marlon's podcast, because the vast majority of the audience is his audience, I don't know. I want to talk to you about how you're getting 242 people to show up to a live. That's pretty sick. I see one of your guys, Christopher Webb. When is your next live stream? I don't know if that's towards me, but if you guys want to subscribe to my channel as well, which is just my name, Jonah Korchin, JONAHKYRCHIN. I interview tons of entrepreneurs, Marlon, a lot on my podcast, Skorch the Fears. I have another podcast where I answer any questions related to real estate on Mondays, 9:15 a.m. MST. Skorch the Fears kind of changes around depending on what the guest needs. And then I've got tons of content about real estate investing, a lot with real estate agents and real estate wholesaling. So if you enjoyed this podcast and you enjoy the way that I interview people, comment on it, and then subscribe and hit the notification bell on my channel, and vice versa for mine to Marlon's. He has an insane amount of content. That's why my name. So Christopher. Just literally look up my name. That's how you spell it. That's my name. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, but definitely YouTube is going to have more of the sauce. Subscribe to me there. Hit the notification bell. Marlon, You're amazing. I have a few ideas of some stuff we can do, by the way. You asked me that last time I saw you, and then I thought about it. So I'm going to be texting you.
Oh,
I got to get on this flight, though. Do you have any last things before I wrap this up?
dude, I just want to say I appreciate you, bro. I love you, man. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you. And I just dropped your IG inside there because I want people, guys,
It's my
go and
name. Everything
follow
is my
Jonah.
name.
Yeah, go
Everything's my
go
name. So
follow
just look
Jonah.
it up.
Yeah, especially if y'all are doing real estate, especially if you're doing direct agent. Like, he's the GOAT. Like, this is the guy. Like this, what I love about you, Jonah, is you got specific on what it is you do and you rode your lane and now you are the best at what you do. And it is so easy to refer people to you because I know exactly what value they're going to get from you. I don't have to worry that they're going to come back and be like, yeah, he was a letdown. Like, no, he's literally going to be able to help you in that. What you can help people in a lot of ways, but like, there's one thing that you do better than everybody else. That's direct to agent. And I love referring you out to people because it is so hard to find good people to send other people to. So I love that.
I appreciate it, bro. It's the exact same thing to you. I appreciate you. Any last words, or was that the last words?
Dude, my last words is I love Jonah. Love you, bro. Looking forward to hanging out again. And guys, I will hopefully be back on Skorch the Fears. Hopefully Jonah invites me back on in the future.
You will 100% be back at some point. Love you too, dude. I can't wait to see you in November. Guys, this is Skorch the Fears, episode 96. Let's freaking go!